Hi, I'm Chris McIntyre, and this is Almost Above Average. For the majority of my adult life, I was up to no good and was definitely in need of a change. I failed many times trying to change on my own, but it was listening to others that finally got me headed in the right direction. Being able to listen and take advice saved my life, and I'm still listening. I'm seeking out interesting people, stories, and experiences to share with my audience in hopes that you too will learn something to add value to your life. Thank you for tuning in, and get ready for another action-packed episode of Almost Above Average with Chris McIntyre. Please share with a loved one, and we would really appreciate a 5-star review. Thank you, and enjoy. In this episode, Chris sits down with Dr. Joe Shepard for a weekly feature, discussing the art of grabbing attention and maximizing impact. Get ready to elevate your content game with Almost Above Average, and let's dive in and learn together.
Yeah, so we'll talk later about what we want to develop, though.
Yeah, I think, my whole strategy with this podcast right now, I'm going to put this closer to you.
Yeah.
When I have some money together, I'm going to get those clip-on mics. When we come in, just, you can do it like that. I've got to figure out how to get that going.
No, I want to partner with you because it's going to take money to do it the right way, or the way that you might want it to, to look at as a finished product.
Yeah.
And so it's like...
Yeah, because we got a lot of things. When I started the podcast, I didn't know what it was going to turn into. My idea was I want to try everything. If someone has a good idea, I want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and see what catches on, and then kind of formulate my show around that. But it's turning, the Almost Above Average seems to be, is where I talk to interesting people, and I learn from them, and I spread whatever they're talking about, because they're doing good things, and I want to talk about that kind of stuff. So that could be all that Almost Above Average is. It's just me sitting here with another person interviewing them, But the options are endless. We could do...
Because you have so many shows.
Right. There's unlimited amounts of shows that I can put. So I know I had Summer Wisher here talking about Wake Smiles a few weeks ago. And I know she's working on putting together a podcast for herself, which I'm happy to produce if she wants to do that.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So, and a lot of these things, the people that I've had in here, they leave with that kind of in their head, like, I could probably do that.
This is something I can do.
Right.
Which is inspiring.
Right.
And so then you just have to focus on how you generate subscription to your service.
Yep. Me and my buddy Lonnie, we were talking about that on the AWFL Podcast, because a lot of podcasters right now are making money through the Patreon. But the Patreon is kind of like bonus content, or, I have to be offering something for people to pay for. So I got to figure out what that extra content is that I'm going to charge for,
Unless you focus on monetizing just because of viewership, like on YouTube, just how many clicks it got. And that buddy, he does this in music where it's based on the streams. And so he has a phone that is just set to repeat streams.
Yeah.
So he just got a couple of phones, and he's been able to monetize on the streams just because the phones are doing it throughout the day.
I'm going to steal that idea, because I have a couple of phones that are released.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, when I have time, that's my thing. Right.
Yeah.
But I have at least 20 projects right now. It was like, I want to get the other phone just to have it automated streaming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But imagine whenever you listen to, because I do this live, like meditation music or extended sets of lo-fi hip-hop or lo-fi jazz or study music.
Just for background noise.
Right. It's just tracks, loop.
Yeah. And
so when you listen to that thing for 3 hours or you put it on, all of those independent tracks are getting streamed.
So they're all like put together and then...
Correct.
Actually, that all just made sense to me. I know how to do that now.
It's not like a 9-hour track or a 3-hour track or an hour track. It's like a 3-minute loop. If you listen to it for an hour, you've listened to it however many times. So if it's an hour thing and it's 3 minutes, it's 60 minutes an hour. So you listen to that track 20 times.
Yeah.
If you get 20 people listen to it 20 times, that's 400 loops within the hour. Oh, you just monetize.
Yeah. I'm totally going to do that. Right now I'm paying a pretty penny to these guys that are just watching my podcast on YouTube so I can monetize it.
Correct.
So they're just sitting there, with their box watching it.
This is why it's important to edit the podcast. So, hey, we have an hour and a half of content. If somebody watches it, first of all, from start to finish, bless them. Because we don't do that. So that's not a documentary.
Yeah.
Right. So if they get through it, they're only going to watch it one time.
Right.
if you break it down into part 1 to part 2, part 2 to part 3, if you break it down to 20 minutes, now you have 4 or 5 different episodes that you can show. Now you have a series, right? You put commercials in between. Then you have a 3-minute clip to advertise the 20-minute video. Then you have
up next on part 2 with
right.
Okay.
Then you have a minute reel that you can use on your social media to set up for the clip that says download on my website. Now you've got traffic to your website. You've got monetization on your form that you uploaded, and then you have the full episode if they want to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the raw footage. You can check it out on YouTube. There'll be a video.
Right. Or the extended version is usually on your website. Right. That's how you get people to come to your website.
Okay, drive traffic to the website.
They want the rest. Hey, you have the social media that has the reel.
Yeah.
You have the podcast platform that has the episode, and for the outtakes and for the apparel and all this, then it goes to the website.
Yeah.
So now you just captured 3 different audience. But I'm more inclined, if that's so thought-provoking and it cost me 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to save it. I'm going to watch it again. I'll share it, because I know someone wants 15 minutes. They can listen to that on their way somewhere. If they're not really able to listen to an hour and a half, that's a dedication.
Right.
That's why we have, like, on Netflix, where you say, oh, this is on the watch list. Like, when I have 2 hours of nothing to do, then I'll get to that. My children tease me, Dad, your watch list is the one other guy that I haven't got to yet. Right, so,
But I want to.
yeah, they look so interesting. Add to my list.
Yeah.
Wow. Add to my list. I have 2023 stuff up there. You didn't see the first one yet. You can't watch this one. All right. Well, I'll watch it now. But that's because the anxiety of spending 2 hours watching television, I don't have that. Like, I have to intentionally say, hey, we're not doing anything. This is a thing. It's family time. Whatever the circumstances that provide that for me. But there's so much tidbit information that I use off Instagram. That's a 5-minute thing that I'll save. I don't know. I probably have 100 videos saved to my phone. Right. So just of information. Right. And so you want to be that guy that would say, oh, he did a video, let me save it to my phone. Let me create a folder in my social media for Chris's thing. Okay, that's an above average, almost above average, not above average result. Almost. We want that to be something that we want it to be part of the diet.
Right.
Um,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is content creation gold right here.
Oh, yeah, no.
Joe's dropping.
Spoke with David Shantz, Social Proof. He's like the content creation guy in podcasting.
What's his name?
David Shantz.
David Shantz. I'll have to look into him.
Oh, yeah. He has Sleepers for Suckers, Social Proof. He made podcasting big in our community.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a news broadcaster.
Right.
And it was journalism. And then
a lot of people, it's just me and my friends hanging out.
And then, because this is pre-COVID, right? So COVID is like, oh, everyone podcasts, everyone has a thing on Facebook, everyone's live. But before there were those advances, you'd be very intentional about having a podcast unless you were a radio show. Right. Which turned to like Breakfast Club, which then became podcast-y because it had a camera. Right. So now you had a camera on a radio show. It was like, it's a podcast.
Yeah. Any situation where you're recording conversations, it's a podcast.
Correct. And so, he's a content creation guru. With just how to set it up and batch content and then just shoot it out because you have it all. Right. So if we have an hour conversation, I'm like, there's too much worth of material. Yeah. If you put it all out there at one time, though, you bleed 2 months worth of material. Oh, yeah. And I lost so the way you're talking right now, the idea that I'm having, like, dude, after this, like, we just created, 4 weeks worth of correct stuff. So when I'm done with this one in particular, I'm going to chop it up and do a few different segments. And so you have a sound bite, you have an avenue for a commercial, right? Because then after you've heard the brand, now you're like drop T-shirts in there, and now they're so you have all of these things that you can do, just like with television. Yeah. Right. So imagine this is it's a show. So you have ads, you have commercials, you have the cliffhanger moment until the next episode, and then you have, hey, nothing's going on right now because you have another season. So while this show is out of season, you're filming another show. Right. And this season we'll come back here. Remember Dr. Joe? He's coming back.
Wait till you see what he's got.
Guess what happened?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe it. Right. And so you have those build-ups, and you have all of the elements that create viewership and attention that people are familiar with when they watch television.
That's beautiful. Well, we're talking about this. I don't have no advertisers aren't paying me yet. So for the commercial part, what I'll do is plug the other podcast. Like we'll break from this part and I'll go into a promo for the other podcast and then right back to us.
You're gonna put in You're gonna have music commercials. You're gonna have all your stuff.
Right.
You're gonna have music. You're gonna have your apparel. You're gonna have the whole setup, and it's gonna be your branding.
Right.
And it'll just be one look. We'll have that as a separate commercial already set.
Right.
You'll just know how to plug and play your 2-minute thing, and then you'll have the course that you'll be doing that'll plug in because you'll have a commercial for that.
Yeah.
Because you'll be teaching editing and you'll be teaching these different things, and so the podcast will be full body. Like, oh, that was awesome. I know where I need to go. I know where I need to eat. I know where I need to watch this. There's a tool, there may be a book that goes along with it. So now it's a whole brand.
Right.
See, branding is different from entertainment. They have to know why they're coming to you. See, if we're just scrolling, like, why should I watch this show? It hasn't been branded well.
Right.
Right?
Right.
See, Fix has a wonderful way of branding the shows. Hey, because you watch this,
we think you're gonna like. No kidding.
Right? And that's the show I'm going to watch. They branded it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we see that
you take the thinking out of it for me. I'm in.
Yeah, that's how we consume.
Right.
Hey, you don't want a dry burger. You want a juicy burger. It's been branded for you.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest, juiciest burger for your buck. You know, I think you can know I wanted a burger. And I mean burgers. But, you know, the branding of it all. They have to know why they want to be a part of the almost above average brand. How do they identify with that?
How do they fit into this puzzle?
Their models, is it a thing for guys or then the girls? Is it the guys want the empowerment for information? Like, what's that show's brand? I watched a single, you'll know who I'm talking about, but he's not paying me for endorsements. But a single genius out of Atlanta create different shows. He was doing plays, and then he started doing shows, and then he had a network of his shows. And they all look different. Some of the, you know, if you look at the camera, you know, like, oh, it's the same camera.
Yeah.
But the show theme is like, well, this is the family show. This is the political show. This is the drama series. This is the comedy show, right? And so each one is branded, but they're all his shows, right?
That's my path right there.
Yeah. And so that's the path I took in my writing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're headed in our next element of ventures.
Yeah.
And so we were just talking about an artist who has such a diversified platform. And then she just did a country album, but she's also done rap. She's also done ballads. She's also done R&B. Started off, you know, in pop. And so
you talking about Beyonce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So you know, just the diversity. Right, and so she owns the stage. You don't know what she's going to do, but she's a brand by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear Beyonce's doing something, it is fine. It is fine. It's sold out by the name because she's branded.
That's why I'm okay with the country song, and a lot of people aren't. Like, it's Beyonce.
Before she did the country album, she had a house album.
Did not know that.
Straight house beats. And it was like, and it was genius.
I'm sure.
And we were like,
is that Beyonce?
And I mean, killed it.
Yeah, she's an artist.
Like she's if she does it, it's going to be good, and that's the brand. You can trust it because she did it, and you know she's not going to do it. You've never said, "Oh man, you know that Beyonce album was kind of like." You may not be a fan of the material, but you have to respect the art form.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about the director and the writer and the creator of these shows. I'm not necessarily a fan of all the shows, but the ability to have such a diversified art form. I want to be the writer to the way he's able to direct and cast and create shows. So I have different books that have different tones. It's like, it's the same author?
That's surprising. That seems very challenging. I don't know if I could write in a different, maybe I'm just holding myself back, but I feel like I only write one way.
Yeah.
You know?
I did. And it was very intentional having to write a different way.
Almost like getting into character, I imagine.
I'm about to say it was like method acting.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was, somebody's going to get this joke. I was in Atlanta. We were there for a book signing. And I had just like 2 or 3 books. Like there were people who was like comic there. They have a table full of books, and I was like,
here's the 4. Yeah.
Right. Here are my 2 books, and here's it in paper and hardback. That's what I was going with. And
well, don't sell yourself short. It is impressive that you even wrote.
Well, yeah. It was an accomplishment at the time, but it let me know where I was in a space that I didn't feel comfortable taking up a lot of space in.
Okay.
So I had a hard time selling because those graphics were better, that layout was better.
You didn't feel like you belonged there.
Right. And I wanted to pay next to my cover, but I saw this lady in the corner. She's beautiful, by the way. And her shirt said, "Perspective is everything." And when you are able to take the vantage point of another perspective, you can do anything from that space. If I'm not afraid to get out of this chair, sit in that chair, then I'll see the room differently. And instead of writing about the wall, I'll be writing about the door.
Right.
Right. Because I'm seeing something totally different.
Yeah.
And so if I stay in the same space, it's difficult to write about different things because I'm still here.
Right.
And so I'm going to write in that voice and that tone. I haven't had any new experiences, haven't traveled anywhere, I haven't tried any new foods.
Yeah.
I don't have any inspiration to do it differently than what I've already done. Well, you throw in a diet, weight gain, weight loss, some trauma, some healing, some trying to figure it out, some highs and lows, and you got some stuff to talk about that you can speak from a level of appreciation that helps other things make sense that didn't make sense before. So now you have a level of attitude that you weren't writing with before. They have a level of maturity and experience that you weren't writing with before. You may be able to embrace individuals and things that you thought were different, but you realize you guys were the same. They were just expressing themselves differently. You stubbed your toe in the bed before I've stubbed my toe in the bed before. I may have said something different when I stubbed my toe, but we would say we stubbed our toe. It was annoying. It was like, that post why is it right there? And then we have the strawberry laying on the bed.
No.
Right? So the bed is only a problem when we're clumsy. And when we're clumsy, we're cussing the bed out. When we're tired, where have you been all
I just need my bag.
Goodness gracious. Thank you. Just throw the phone across the room, out the door, down the stairs.
Leave me alone.
The bed has saved us from the long day.
Becomes our God at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then it's this hideous monster that we curse out first thing in the morning when we stop outside.
Yeah.
Same bed.
Perspectives.
But before you even appreciate it enough to make it up, you're already cursing it out. Because you gotta bleed.
Yeah.
You see?
That's on you.
And the bed was constant. It's just as comfortable, but now it's the villain. And so sometimes you're going to be the villain, sometimes you're going to be the hero. Just depends on what the person that's reading it. Right.
Thanks for tuning in to another insightful episode of Almost Above Average with Chris McIntyre. And thank you to our special guest, Dr. Joe Shepard. Stay connected for more engaging discussions on content production, monetization strategies, and captivating your audience. Don't miss out on weekly features with Dr. Joe Shepard as we tackle important topics of the day and keep aiming to be almost above average. Also, be sure to check out the AWFL Podcast with Lonnie Doyle and Partial Intelligence with Jason Donklinger, available on any podcast platform. Keep the inspiration going. Until next time, stay tuned and explore the world of podcasts wherever you go.